Hi.
Hi.
Hi. And hello to you. I'm Laurin Leonard. I'm the president and CEO of R3 Technologies, and I'm here today with...
I'm Anye, Anye Young. I am, what am I?
What's your current title?
My current title, I currently work with Eventive in the communications and community engagement sector. And I'm a recent graduate. I don't have that much under my belt right now.
Okay, see, Anye is doing a lot. This is just an introduction.
Yeah,
so here's what we're going to do.
just-
So Anye currently works with Eventive. I am one of the Eventive partners. And today we're just going to have a quick conversation from the perspective of being a child of a person who's incarcerated.
Yes.
So my mom was incarcerated when I was older. A lot of times people talk about children of incarcerated parents and they think small kids.
Mm-hmm.
I had graduated from college, so I was 21. How old were you during your experience?
My dad went to prison when I was around like 9 or 10.
Okay.
And then by the time he got out, I was basically able to like legally drink. So
21.
I was about 21. I was about 21 or near 21. So yeah, it was a pretty lengthy sentence that he served.
And I think so. I will say for me, because I was older, my experiences were uniquely different. So I'll share a little bit about mine and then I'll ask you about yours.
Yeah.
So I remember going on dates and needing to explain to people that when my mom calls, regardless of where we are, I got to take the phone call. And since you were at the end of that, I assume, unless you had boyfriends very early.
No.
Okay.
No.
That wasn't an experience for you. How did you kind of potentially tell friends that you had that experience, or did you actually tell friends?
I didn't really. I want to say up until maybe I was 16 or 17. By then I was graduating high school. So it wasn't something that I really shared with most of my friends. So I didn't really have to go through a lot of the explaining to people that like I have to take this call or whatever. When I was in college though, I would get calls from my dad where I would be in the middle of a lecture or something and I'm like, okay, like, all right. And sometimes I would take it because if he calls twice then I know it's important. If he calls once and it's like, okay, he's just saying hi. Mm-hmm. But in college, I think I was a little bit more comfortable with telling people that my dad was incarcerated, and so I would tell them, oh, like my dad's calling me or whatever. I usually wouldn't go into depth with everyone that I meet because I feel like it is a very personal and it is a very personal experience, and a lot of people don't understand it.
Yeah. And for you, what was your family experience like? Did you feel supported through that, or especially since you weren't telling a lot of friends, how did you manage that process?
I think that process was very isolating, to say the least. I think even with like family, it was isolating. With my mom's side of the family, a lot of them haven't experienced like being incarcerated. They come from like a different socioeconomic background. And then my dad comes from like a different environment as well, where like being in the system is like not rare, like at all. Like a lot of people, like it was like his dad, his brothers, himself, my brothers, like his own son went into the system as well. So it was like that cyclic nature was manifesting itself within his own family. So it wasn't something that was like foreign to us dealing with, but it was something that was unfortunately almost normalized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So mine was probably similar. So my mom was the first person in our immediate family, and truthfully probably our network, but also because I'm a nerd, I'm like, math is just math. So just the number of people who had experienced either an arrest experience or a conviction history, I just know just the math was on our side, that probably more people than I was aware of kind of in our extended broader network had experienced it. But I would say I went in a different direction, and it's probably just because of age, where I just did not feel like I wanted to be isolated. So it was something that I talked about, which was probably not good or exciting for her. Because at the end of the day, it's something where it was my choice to tell people, but it was really her life experience, right? So it's an interesting piece. I think for kids, I don't know if there's a experience that is universal for all kids. I think it depends upon the parent, it depends upon the situation, it depends upon the age of the child. And I think also one of the things, the technology. So for us, mom had access to email, but she didn't have tablets. Did you guys have
I believe
tablets or connection?
I believe we did have access to tablets. We did video calls. I remember doing video calls maybe less than a handful of times, but we did get to do video calls. So I do think that there were, and my dad was, from my understanding, my dad was in state prison, so they did have access to the tablets, which was nice. But yeah, it definitely made communication like outside of calls a little bit more frequent, because then he could like shoot me a message and it would come through, and I could check it and stuff, and like, you know, I could send him pictures. There was a time where I was able to send him physical pictures, and I did that for years, and I had to print them out. I had to go to like no, it was bad. I had to like go to CVS or Walgreens and like find anywhere that had this like janky machine that would like, you know, print out these pictures and stuff, and like I didn't know dimensions at that time. I was in middle school.
Yeah,
I was in middle school. I didn't know what 9 inches. I didn't know what 5 inches looked like, you know, and I was like, oh, like I guess. And so a lot of things went
You got a
to
lot of
waste.
little tiny pictures,
I wasted so much paper. But
well, that's the benefit of technology.
That's the
is
benefit of
like
technology.
your middle
I didn't
schoolers don't have
go-
to do all that.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, photos would get thrown away or whatever, or he wouldn't get them, and I didn't have to really worry about that as much when there was like a system for just like uploading things and getting it to him. But yeah, that was pretty much my experience for the first couple of years until like they actually really started bringing technology into the prisons and made things a little bit.
Or perhaps you're an advocate on behalf of all children of how it's easier to connect to family in that. So what I will say is, as the daughter of a father, is there one thing that, and it's a lot of pressure for you to have one thing, but if you could say something, one to a child who's going through this experience, and then also on the reverse to a dad, what could you offer? Because the hard part is sometimes when you have an experience, you don't necessarily want to become a poster child for anything, but unfortunately we are, and I think that there are some kids who will probably appreciate you saying something to them, and also some dads who don't know how to stay connected or what to say.
Yeah. So one thing I would give to, like, one piece of advice for children, one piece of advice for fathers. Let's see. I would say definitely be patient with your incarcerated parent or your father who's in prison. It's really tough. They you know, I had to learn that whatever year they went in is the year that they are still in. Like socially, and the conversations are different. Their, you know, their ideas are different. The way that they think about things are so like pretty much, for the most part, set in the year that they went to prison. And so it requires like a lot of patience, a lot of grace for you to like talk through and, you know, build that relationship still and get to know them as a person. I would also say maybe for fathers, I would say take time to grieve the time that you lose while you're in prison. Because every day that goes by, it's not just about your sentence, it's about every single day that goes by where you miss something. You miss something every day that you're not there. And not processing that grief when you are out and you're in contact with your family, like it will manifest itself in ways that you probably never thought it would manifest itself. I think that it's really important to process what you're losing on the inside so that you can begin to rebuild when you're on the outside again.
That was really good, Anye. Might be an official podcaster. I think if I were to do the opposite, so I would say, because I was older, for adult children, it's similar. And so my mom and I would have a lot of conversations about what were some of her fears, what were some of my fears. And I would say that we made an intention that we wanted to stay connected, right? So that goes to your point about grace and patience, and effort.
Yeah.
So I think to children, I would say it is always worth the effort. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and I was like, regardless of how our experiences with our parents are, all of us deep down have a desire to have a good parental experience.
Yeah.
And you only get in all relationships what you're willing to put in.
Yeah.
Right. And if
Absolutely.
this is the relationship that's important to you, then even though it takes more effort to have it, it's a relationship worth trying for. And I think that that's actually probably for both children and parents. But I think also for parents, I like what you said about the grieving part. I think the unfortunate part is there is a radical honesty around what we miss and what you
Yes.
lose.
Yeah.
And I think that for both parents and children, it's being okay with there will be some things you miss, and God willing, everyone stays healthy, everyone stays well, and even if you don't get everything back, you can get some stuff. So
Yeah. I have a unpopular opinion. As
You
far
don't
as
say.
I know, I have so many unpopular opinions, but I have an unpopular opinion. I think that the dynamic that you have as a parent with your child is drastically different from the dynamic that your child has with you. They experience you differently. They experience life differently. Like, you are their parent, like in your dynamic. You have to come to terms with the fact that, like, you will always be that parent in there. Like, you made them, you know what I'm saying? Like, the intention, I believe, that has to always be set in order to maintain that connection. I think it also, like, comes with a dedication to resilience, to rekindling that connection, even if you've lost that connection over the years, which it happens.
So what part's unpopular? I don't think I heard the
part
unpopular part.
that is unpopular. I don't think that a parent, even if you feel as though your kid has given up on you, or that connection has been lost, don't ever give up. Like, don't ever give up on that connection, because that doesn't mean that you contact them every day still.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you write them letters every single day and whatever.
But the duty still resides on the parent side.
But the duty still resides on you to maintain that connection. That will always be your duty as a parent. You are the parent. And you still need to be there, check in every once in a while, just be like, okay, like, I'm making the decision for myself to know that I'm still leaving that door open when my child is ready. They may have decided that for what they need in their life, that maybe this connection isn't something that they can invest in and, like, nurture right now, but that isn't a door that you should close as well. I think that you, as the parent, need to leave that door open and make sure that you never give up on rekindling or being open to that connection with your child. That is absolutely 100% your job and your duty.
I feel like that's a good place to stop.
Yeah.
Thank you.